Hello everyone, and now welcome to a game Colorful versus 120. This game taking place here on Tide Hunters. Let's go ahead and break things down, speed things up here. 120 spawning as the green undead at what I'll call the 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Colorful spawning as the pink night elf at what I will call the 4 o'clock position. Undead versus night elf in a 1v1 matchup, Keeper of the Grove going up against a Death Knight. No big surprises here in terms of the heroes, as they are going to be making their way out onto the battlefield. Keeper of the Grove already out onto the battlefield here, looking to clear out the remainder of this sea giant creep camp while putting pressure on this acolyte. Acolyte will get taken down, and well, the Ancient of War doing its thing, absorbing as much damage as it can, as the Keeper of the Grove going to be picking up a circlet of nobility. Off to the north, Death Knight has sold the Scroll of Town portal and now going after this gold mine creep camp here and looking to perhaps fast expand. Ziggurat is already placed down. Wisp now going to be made on over to try and detonate that blight, making it difficult to build any additional buildings, but that Ziggurat is already in play. All right, Ghoul should be able to finish off the remainder of that creep camp, as the Death Knight is already making a move over here to this creep camp as well. Keeper of the Grove currently clearing out this creep camp with 4 treants, but the Death Knight here has plans of his own to try and disrupt a bit of this clearing. Death Knight does bring up some skeletal minions here and is looking to clear out these Tide warriors and perhaps try and get to level 2. Death Knight now at level 2 does have Unholy Aura and moves around much more quickly and efficiently, as the archers are looking to stagger back as well. There's a quick detonation again, as this Ancient of War, well, has taken quite a bit of damage and is in threat of being taken down if ghouls are brought over. Ziggurat is already upgrading to a Nerubian Tower, a haunted gold mine, currently being summoned up, as well as the Keeper of the Grove, going to be staying close to home and looking to transition into Huntresses nicely. We do not see, I repeat, do not see an expansion attempt, as Colorful opting the tech to tier 2 instead. Hello Twitch, hello YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this holiday season, whatever holidays you may be celebrating. Hopefully you are enjoying a time with your family. Coming back around, Death Knight heading back off to the north here. Treants absorbing the damage from this giant sea turtle creep camp. A little bit of bounce damage happening back over there, as the Keeper of the Grove has dual circlets of nobility and may be able to pick up another Cloak of Shadows item to hide alongside the rest of that Night Elf army. Wow, Night Elf is expanding. Oh wait, it's Undead. Yep, no. Undead is expanding. A Night Elf is currently not. Coming back through, what is going to be going on here? Death Knight looking to clear out this sea giant creep camp. Will not get to level 3. Always got to be careful when surrounding that sea giant, as that spinning anchor attack can clear out a lot of melee units if you are not expecting it. Keeper of the Grove already at level 3 now, hasn't quite chosen that third ability, whether it will be a longer and more damaging entangle or some more treants. Now, 4 out of 5 saturation already by 120, with the 5th Acolyte being trained. Tech to tier 2 has been significantly delayed, as we do see Colorful now setting up a Tree of Life down to the south. With this Tree of Life down to the south side here, he will be able to expand at that 7 o'clock location once the rest of the army makes its way over. Colorful currently just buying time a bit right now, putting in a pressure, and well, we're going to see a couple of acolytes perhaps get taken down as well. One ghoul going to get cleaned up here. It is level 2 entangle, as an archer could end up getting taken down as well due to a deny. Now, Keeper of the Grove getting off another entangle here. Are we going to see a death coil to try and save this ghoul? That is the question. There is that death coil for that save, as additional acolytes are still trying to, well, fully saturate this haunted gold mine. It is already done. Nope, I take it back. Once more at 4/5, and this is still just buying a lot of time for the Tree of Life down at the south side to get uprooted and then eventually make its way over. That Keeper of the Grove hitting much harder and having significantly more hit points. 150 extra hit points, 6 additional damage, add in that additional 1.8 armor and faster attack speed because of that +6 stats on that circlet of nobility. Now, Keeper of the Grove, Huntresses slowly making their way back down to the south side here. Thank you for updates. Anyways, Death Coil finishing off an archer there as there's just mass skeletal minions. Panda now out here on the battlefield, and that Panda's Breath of Fire should be able to blow things over pretty quickly as now the Death Knight wants to back away. All right, there's quite a little bit of damage there. Treants are looking to get finished off. Panda wants to get one more shot off there. Does get a quick kill. Only 12 experience on the board, but that Keeper of the Grove should be dropping all those circlets of nobility, healing back up nicely, and then making its rounds back out as that Tree of Life is already done. Tech to Tier 2 has been started and is about 40% of the way. Keeper of the Grove off on the north side here, going to clear out this Rock Golem creep camp and pick up a Goblin Shredder. That Goblin Shredder timing nice as the Goblin Shredder will take over the lumber harvesting duty of a couple of wisps as those wisps now transition over to the Tree of Life at the expansion. So very well thought out strategy there. If you guys are looking to min-max your timings, picking up the Goblin Shredder to replace those 5 workers that need to get lumber is a great strategy there. A very strong transition as that Goblin Shredder also deals significant damage to that creep camp off to the north. Keeper of the Grove ready to put in some more pressure, has a Robe of Magi in addition to, so now plus 12 on that Keeper of the Grove. But what's more scary is that 525 maximum mana capacity with that plus 12 intelligence, meaning that it is regenerating mana like crazy. Coming down here, Gargantuan Sea Turtle going after this Tree of Life. One giant Sea Turtle going to get taken down there. This Gargantuan Sea Turtle will end up falling as well, not switching, as we are looking at Nature's Blessing on that Tree of Life for that additional bit of armor and also that faster movement speed. All right, Death Knight now coming back around, wants to cause a bit of problems. Death Knight, Staff of Teleportation inbound, trying to perhaps take down that Gargantuan Sea Turtle. Are we going to be looking at an entangle? Yes, we are. Death Knight, Junkin Haze, Breath of Fire. Death Knight could get a Death Coil off on the Gargantuan Sea Turtle, and now finally using that. Oh, wow. That Death Knight down to 50 some odd hit points. That Unholy Aura, that additional bit of regeneration, saving that to Death Knight. As the Potion of Greater Mana is picked up by the Brewmaster, but the experience was taken by that Death Knight. Death Knight dang it, I didn't even scroll in there. Death Knight now needs a way to heal up a little bit more. See, and if I scroll out now, that's just a little bit too far. It's like I want one. Nope. Like I like want somewhere in between those two scrolling points. All right, coming back through Death Knight. Dual Circlets of Nobility, Rod of Necromancy, and now going after all this here. We're looking at the Death Knight looking to clear out this Rock Golem creep camp, and meanwhile another green or red creep camp getting cleared up by Colorful, who has a significant experience lead, level 3 on the Panda and on that Keeper of the Grove, picking up some healing wards, which will allow him to clear out a much more difficult creep camps and be ready for that follow-up battle. Typing XXX doesn't work. Oh, yeah, you can't type in a replay. Exactly. So what's funny is when I'm watching or I'm casting from a replay, and then one of the players actually adjusts the zoom. It adjusts the zoom for me. So sometimes it actually staggers me back much further than I want, and I can't adjust it to how I want it. Coming back through though. All right, a giant sea turtle continuing to poke apart this Death Knight here. We are looking at Huntresses and Dryads taking down this giant sea turtle here, and that will get cleaned up. I guess this is a good question to ask the W3 Booster and the WarCraft 3 champion people. Is the new interface and the new version, is it because of Reforged that they were able to build this beautiful overlay for casting? I guess that's the question there. So if it is because of an API that they're able, a recent API in Reforged that they're able to create the overlays that Back to Warcraft and W3 Booster provides, then I guess that is a semi upgrade that Battle or Blizzard was able to do to help the overall community, as these overlays do look very nice. Anyway, coming back around here, Death Knight now looking to clear out this gargantuan sea turtle creep camp. Lich, well, quickly making up that difference in terms of experience, already sitting at level 2, going after this 744 creep camp, will be more than halfway up to level 3 after this creep camp here. Is it actually going to get there? No, I can believe just going to be just shy of level 3 right there. Yeah, just shy as the Death Knight now going to go ahead and scroll of Town Portal to the Necropolis to try and save this expansion. All right, Panda could have turned around, Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire across all of those tightly grouped units. Archer escapes, so nope, does not escape. Looks like it was taken down by a Crypt Fiend there as the Dryads and Huntresses are looking to retreat back again. Now, 51 supply compared to 63, 120 with a major supply advantage. Hero level advantage still belonging to Night Elf, but that is a very narrow advantage indeed. I guess not. Dota 1 isn't in Reforged, right? Nope. Dota 1 is not in Reforged. Coming back around, Null Overseer gonna get cleaned up here. Yeah, the original Dota was built on the WarCraft 3 engine. Yeah, original Dota built on the WarCraft 3 engine and kind of took over all of WarCraft 3 um, as the custom maps and the user maps actually became a much more popular than many of the actual ladder ranked maps. Anyways, coming back around, Brewmaster sitting at 4, Keeper of the Grove sitting at 3, Robe of Magi, some very strong items for the Keeper of the Grove and that Panda right now. Two strong consumable items in that Potion of Greater Mana and also that Potion of Greater Healing. We are looking at a Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3 getting left behind here as the Keeper of the Grove does not have a room for it either. I don't see a third hero coming in from Colorful, as Colorful could have used a little bit more experience to get that Keeper of the Grove to level 4 and have dual level 4 heroes instead of just being tied with 120, who will be having a level 4 Death Knight and a level 3 Lich in just a moment. Only 5 experience away. All right, Army's going to engage right there. There's a little bit of damage. Are we going to see a Frost Nova and level 3 Death or level 3 Lich already? There you are. Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire. Death Knight could be coming back around to try and get a Death Coil on that Lich. There is the save right there, and the battle is already off to a crazy start. Keeper of the Grove saving that Druid of the Claw once more. Are we going to see some more exchanges going back and forth there as the Orb of Venom does slowly tick away at that Death Knight? 66 supply compared to 73. Lich can choose to attack in a number of different options here, and one of the reasons why this Keeper of the Grove can actually, well, somewhat survive is that the Death Knight and the Death Knight has not hit level 5 yet, but the Keeper of the Grove does have a little bit more of additional hit points, but he needs to get more hit points if he doesn't want to get blasted away eventually. All right, more damage getting added on through. Lich could be in a bit of trouble. More damage. Staff of Preservation for the save as the damage is, well, the Keeper or the Druid of the Cloud now down to 29 hit points, staying back. Wow, did not mean to zoom in that far or out that much. Keeper of the Grove still putting in pressure here. You can see that the Lich is absorbing much of that damage, but because of that heroic armor, the piercing damage really not eating through or getting past that 400 hit point burst heal from that Death Knight. Even with Breath of Fire and that Orb of Venom, still not doing enough here as dual Staff of Preservations and their very short cooldown are trying to save low hit point Druids of the Claw. Keeper of the Grove seeing that level 4 and now looking to put in more pressure. And how long can the Dryads try and turn that Lich into a pincushion? That is the question, and it seems like forever and a day as the Lich is now going to get taken down. Well, all right, there goes my light. All right, more pressure still getting added on through here. Keeper of, or Panda now trying to head back off the north. Panda in a bit of trouble, down to 110 hit points. Will it be able to stick around? Yes, it will. It's going to go ahead and use some Moonwell as we see Dust of Appearance perhaps trying to find any Crypt Fiends that burrow its head in the sand. No such luck there. Panda going to go ahead, get a Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire across multiple units. Crypt Fiend finally falls, 54 supply compared to 67, but I believe the majority of the corpses is all going to be Night Elf units here. All right, is the Lich going to get taken down to 33, 26 hit points? Yes. It ends up falling a split second before the Scroll of Town Portal goes, and all of that damage after all that time finally ends up, making that Lich fall at level 3. It tips things in favor of Colorful, who now has a level 5 Panda. He is currently low on mana, but nothing, a couple of Moonwells that with the upgrades cannot solve. Behind this, though, 120 has set up an expansion here at that 8 o'clock location, which will get cleared up. 61 supply compared to 66, but this is not going to be an easy fight for Colorful. Even, well, some of those Acolytes are going to get taken down. If damage is coming back on through, Lich is right there, and here we go. Death Knight actually in a very forward, uncomfortable spot. There's a Drunken Haze. No, there's just a Breath of Fire. No Drunken Haze damage there, as the Death Knight does get up to level 5 as a Dryad fall. So a dual level up for Undead here, getting up to a level 5 Death Knight and a level 4 Lich as well. Will that Keeper of the Grove be able to do enough? That is the follow-up question here. Staff of Preservation had saved a handful of units, minimizing the experience, but just the army composition and the resiliency of the Undead army because of those obsidian statues is continuing to tip things in favor of, well, a 120. However, Night Elf is not out of this battle yet, as he's setting up his expansion as well. 5.5 minutes of mining left at the main bases. And, well, and from there, it will be a race to see who can use their gold better. We are looking at 2-3 upgrades by the Night Elf compared to 2-1 upgrades for the Undead. So a slight upgrade advantage for the Night Elf army, as the Panda wants to, well, there's a little bit of a taunt there. Breath of Fire going down, a little bit of lasting damage on that Crypt Fiend as the units are retreating back. However, pushing back the other way, there goes another Breath of Fire. Are we going to see a Staff of Preservation? Yes, we are. No surprise there. And now a Breath of Fire blowing over a single Crypt Fiend once more. That Panda with level 3 Breath of Fire really causing problems. Now Staff of Preservation constantly saving low hit point Druids of the Claw, as they're able to heal back up pretty much instantaneously, and then joining back out onto the battlefield. We're looking at Dryads continuing to do a little bit of poking here, entangle onto that Lich, but that Lich isn't going to be doing very much, as we are looking at no Staff of Preservation onto that Mountain Giant, as the Mountain Giant will going to sink back to the earth where he came from. All right, there is a Death Coil onto the Abomination. Abomination could end up getting taken down. There was I believe that was a Dark Ritual from that Lich in order to get quite a bit more mana, as we're still looking at damage still flying through here. One Destroyer gets taken down, one Obsidian Statue very low on hit points here. Panda could get a Drunken Haze. Breath of Fire blows over a Crypt Fiend that was hidden in the sand. Beautiful save there, but the Panda ends up falling. Level 5 Keeper of the Grove going up against a 5 Death Knight and a 4 Lich. Both sides still fighting their way through. Dryads are trying to poke apart that Destroyer. Destroyer down to 644 hit points after a 600 hit point heal, as we see another Burrowed Crypt Fiend getting taken down. All right, Death Knight trying to go after the Mountain Giant. He does go after the Mountain Giant. Now Crypt Fiends are going to slowly get poked apart, as the Death Knight should be forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal here. What's going on? There is a Scroll of Town Portal right there. Death Knight could have turned things around, tried to get in a little bit of extra damage, as we're looking at 81 supply now for Colorful. Well, yeah, 81 sitting actually in high upkeep. That is not a good strategy to be in. Stop training on Ancient. Stop training up a bear, or detonate one of your wisps in order to, well, gain a little bit more gold. Death Knight, Lich, making its rounds back again. Treants now making their way off to the north. Keeper of the Grove gonna perhaps try and defend this expansion here, as the Death Knight holds or keeps the Night Elf army at bay. Colorful actually going into high upkeep to try and take an army size advantage. Meanwhile, 120 are gonna, well, try and hold on to any advantage he's got, perhaps buying some more consumable items while staying in low upkeep. All right, one Ancient of War going to get taken down there. Meanwhile, it looks as though the Dryads, the Druid of the Claws, were trying to intercept units that are going to be making their way over. All right, this Tree of Life still is showing, what, 90 over 90 supply. In comes some damage here. Death Coil, a Frost Nova, Staff of Preservation. That seems a little bit early, as the Panda still now needs to make its way back out onto the battlefield here. Difficult to tell when that Panda is black and white to show that it's dead, or it's currently in play. Coming back around, Druids of the Claw are ending up falling running. 89 supply over 90 supply over 90 as the Mountain Giant now makes its way over, fully upgraded at 3-3. Lich, is it going to get taken down? No, it is not, as the Dryads are continuing to try and poke apart some of these destroyers. All right, Mountain Giant trying to make its way back over, taunting a little bit of damage here as we're looking at a level 6 Death Knight as the Panda does make its way out onto the battlefield. There's a breath of fire going across here. It looks as though, yep, scroll of or a town portal followed by a death coil there, trying to save the Abomination and able to do exactly that. If he is at high upkeep, why not get to 100 over 100? Well, that's probably the goal for 120. But remember, trying to get to 100 over 100 is rather difficult. Well, first of all, Colorful still needed an additional Moonwell first in order to do that. We're going to see a couple of what should actually be going after those acolytes as they're getting pulled back here. There's a Breath of Fire and a Staff of Preservation beautifully saves a low hit point. Druid of the Claw right there. Death Coil saving that Abomination. Obsidian Statue continuing to heal back up once more as the Panda now trying to, well, put pressure back on. Another Staff of Preservation coming across from the Keeper of the Grove as the Keeper of the Grove says, you know what, I cannot be sticking around in this fight here. There goes a Mountain Giant as well. All the Acolytes were pulled off and now heading back off to the north. 3 Dryads and 3 Bears for only one Abomination. Yeah, difficult fight here as Colorful had a decent size army advantage, but still could not translate it well. Those Crypt Fiends with that medium armor just absorb so much more damage than the Dryads do. All right, Druid of the Claw here trying to get in some superficial damage, but is going to be heading back. Remember, Druid of the Claw, even at night, Night Elf units, even at night, cannot offset the damage that is being done by that disease cloud. 79 over 90 supply with sitting on 1,400 gold, trying to go into high upkeep again. Meanwhile, Undead holding steady at 75 over 90 in low upkeep again. All right, trying to intercept some units. That's exactly what Colorful wants to do. Intercept units and then perhaps get to level 6 on those heroes first before getting into that engagement. But Death Knight is sitting at level 6 with some powerful auras and a level 3 Frost Nova supporting him from that Lich. All right, Mountain Giants continuing to absorb Death Coil Frost Nova onto the Brewmaster. Brewmaster down to 300 hit points and dropping quickly as the Panda gets in another Breath of Fire there to try and get in a little bit of lasting damage. Hit and run tactics using Scrolls of Town Portal as those Crypt Fiends, well, pop in and out of the sand. Meanwhile, Treants are now trying to go after those the Acolytes there, but a quick, easy Devour magic by those Destroyers, giving a little bit more experience and healing up those Destroyers rather nicely. We're sitting on 2 bases versus 2 bases here with only 3.5 minutes of mining left on those first expansions. Coming, if the game goes long enough, Colorful will actually be the one mining longer as he started his expansions a little bit later, but it doesn't look like it's good for Colorful. Colorful still needs to overcome the experience advantage and the nuking power of that Death Knight army. In terms of also armor types and unit composition, it is a bit difficult as 1-20 is constantly able to dish out more damage with those Crypt Fiends against that Dryad army, even without Meat Wagon. Staff of Preservation hits the wrong bear, needs another Staff of Preservation to try and save the right bear there. That means that this bear will get taken down as the cooldown is a bit long, finally getting taken down there. One Abomination, all Obsidian Statues continuing to heal, followed by that Death Knight Panda, gonna get a Drunken Haze Breath to fire off. This Abomination gonna fall instead, but it falls to a Dark Ritual. Both sides still fighting their way through. 86 supply over compared to 75. Well, Keeper of the Grove and the Panda just want to level up as Earthstorm and Fire could be a very big deal if it comes down to it. Dryads continuing to poke apart. Mountain Giant going to end up falling here. 75 over 90 supply as both sides are losing taking quite a bit of damage. Panda does get to level 6 and now does not have enough mana for Earthstorm and Fire as Crypt Fiends are starting to, well, get blown over. A couple of well-placed Breaths of Fire could actually take on a handful more Crypt Fiends as the Keeper of the Grove has Tranquility, and that is going to turn things around. Dryads with Tranquility, very, very difficult to stop as there is just constant healing, and suddenly those Dryads are just able to absorb so much damage consistently. There goes another Destroyer, 60 supply compared to 79 The tipping point looks like it's reached, and Colorful is just pummeling his opponent into a corner and into submission. Obsidian Statue about to fall into the side here. Death Coil onto the Crypt Fiend is going to be a little bit late as more Dryads are continuing to poke, and that is the game. Game number 1 going in favor of Colorful. A beautiful game going back and forth. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.